When you picture wild horses, where does your mind go? Well, today we're heading high into the misty, green hills of Galicia, Spain, where that picture is absolutely a reality. We're going to dive into the incredible story of the Galician wild horse, a creature that's been literally forged by a rugged landscape and is woven right into the soul of the region.
And wow, this quote just nails it, doesn't it? We're not just talking about some animal here. We are exploring a living, breathing story of survival and incredible adaptation. These horses are a symbol that carries centuries of history on their backs.
So, to really get who these horses are, we first have to understand what they represent, what they mean to the people and the very land of Galicia.
See, there's so much more than just wildlife. They are the living embodiment of the region's own wild, untamed character. For the Galician people, seeing these herds isn't just a cool sight, it's a connection to this deep-rooted sense of freedom and endurance that really defines their entire cultural identity.
Okay, so now let's zoom in a bit. Let's look at how this tough environment has physically shaped these horses over time. It is a truly fascinating story of natural selection in action. And you can see the link right here between their build and what they have to do to survive. Unlike a lot of larger domestic horses, the Galician horse has this smaller, more compact frame. Now that's not a weakness, it's a superpower. It gives them this incredible agility to zip through dense forests and scramble up steep, rocky slopes where a bigger, heavier animal would just get stuck. And then you've got their hooves. This is another game changer. They are naturally super tough and resilient. Think of them as built-in, all-terrain tires made for the unforgiving ground of Galicia. This lets them thrive without any horseshoes, which, for most domestic breeds on this kind of terrain, would be absolutely essential. And their coat? It's not just for looks. It is a critical piece of survival gear. The thick fur gives them vital insulation against those cold, damp winters. And its varied, earthy coloring? That's natural camouflage, helping them blend right into the landscape to hide from predators. That's a trait that's often been bred out of domestic horses just for aesthetics.
But hold on, survival isn't just about the physical stuff. Their behavior is just as adapted. They have an incredibly flexible diet. They'll eat shrubs or even tree bark when grass is hard to find. They live in these tight-knit, protective herds, and they perfectly time their breeding so that the foals are born when food is most plentiful. It is an absolute masterclass in survival strategy.
All right, let's pull back from the biology for a second and look at the history, because that's where this story gets even deeper. We're talking ancient roots.
You can see this has been a journey thousands of years in the making. It all starts with horses brought to the area way back by Celtic tribes and Roman settlers. Some of those animals either escaped or were let go, and they formed the first feral populations. Over centuries, they became this crucial part of the ecosystem, only to face huge modern threats, which, thankfully, have now sparked some serious conservation efforts. And what's so fascinating is that they aren't wild in the way you might think, like they were never domesticated. Their lineage is actually this unique mix, a blend of ancient domestic breeds and the tough-as-nails feral survivors that adapted to the wild. They also share a really close genetic link with the pura raza gallega, which is the native horse breed of the region. And their impact, it goes so far beyond genetics. They are completely woven into the cultural fabric of Galicia. You'll find them in folklore and songs, they're the stars of local festivals, and they're even respected as the gardeners of the landscape, since their grazing helps prevent forests from getting too overgrown.
So that brings us to today. And despite being these incredible survivors, these horses are facing some pretty serious challenges in our modern world. But thankfully, there are also dedicated people out there fighting for their future.
And the challenges are huge. On one side, you have threats like urban sprawl and habitat loss, just chipping away at their home. But on the other side, you have these powerful conservation actions. Protected areas are being set up, scientists are keeping a close eye on the herds, and local communities are getting involved through education and sustainable ecotourism. It's a real battle for balance.
So after all this, what's the big takeaway? Why should we care so deeply about a population of horses in a corner of Spain? Well, it's because there's so much more than just animals. They are a living, breathing connection to history, a critical piece of the region's biodiversity, and a powerful, enduring symbol of resilience in a world that never stops changing. They really remind us of that untamed spirit that exists in nature, and maybe within ourselves too. And that leaves us with a final thought to chew on. In their story of survival against all the odds, adapting physically, behaviorally, and culturally for thousands of years,
What lessons can we learn about our own ability to adapt and thrive in our own ever-changing world? It's a pretty powerful question to consider.